Hello and welcome to the Believe You Can podcast. My name is Claire Fishington and I'm your host. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited you're here. I am a mum to a little girl called Ruby. I have a background in musical theatre and acting. I run my own online business and I'm so excited to be your host for this podcast because I'm all focused about transformation, overcoming obstacles, building self-esteem and confidence, and just knowing that you, if you put your mind to it and you believe that you can achieve anything. Hello and welcome everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I have two of my best friends and business partners with me today and their beautiful dog, Dolly. So welcome my amazing guests, Stuart and Francis. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having us, my darling. We're just so excited to be on your podcast. When you first announced this, I think it was at the beginning of the year, I was like, yes, Claire, like you were born for this. I just think you've got such a message and you're so relatable as a person. We love you obviously as a friend and we know you, but I'm so excited for the world to hear more from you.
Ah, thanks. So nice.
Should we end it there?
What about you, Stu?
What about me?
Well, anything. Tell us anything. Stuart's lost his voice today. It's all good.
Stuart thinks, I might speak on behalf of him, Stuart thinks that you've got a beautiful voice. Don't you?
You really do.
Oh, soothing.
Very, very soothing.
Oh, I feel like I need to go into do meditation as well with my Essex accent. No, so let's take everyone back. So Stuart and I met at college. And I've known you for 9 years. So Stuart and I have probably been, it's 21 years, I think.
Are you actually joking?
I think it is.
Years?
We graduated in 2005. Four. Yeah. So it's, 21 years.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, we've known each other. So that means we've known each other 23 years because we joined 3 years before. We're in the same class, and he's going to tell you the story of the fact that I went down a set.
She got moved down in dance.
I got moved down in dance. It's fine. Jackie Bristow and Chris Hocking, I still love you. And then Francis and I have known each other 9 years. So let's talk about you two and how you got together.
Yeah, let's do that. So me and Stuart, when did we meet? You were
23.
No, you were older.
26.
Yeah, 26, and I was about 23. And you know what? It was love at first sight.
Yeah,
he
literally was on the other side of the table and kept looking at me and was like, I was like, who is this boy that keeps staring at me? He's got these massive goggly eyes. And I was like, they are like intense eyes looking at me. Beautiful. And then I found out that he was in the original cast of Legally Blonde. And I was like, I need to get myself a ticket for that show. And so here we are.
But I just think
11 years later,
when people kind of think about our relationship, or when I think personally about our relationship, it's always just kind of felt so right. We just lent in a bit more to now we're, is it 10 or 11 years?
11 years.
11 years together, and we have, started the process of having a family and a baby. So it's like, I love you more and more every single day. I know that's really cheesy, but I really do.
That made my heart
it's not cheesy. It's the dream, honey. It is actually the dream. And if I could just talk to you about the fact that before we were getting on, they were all being all cutchy and kissy and everything like that. I'm just watching them in awe. I love
PDAs.
I love PDAs, but unfortunately my partner does not. It's not a thing. So before we get on, because I really want to delve into the surrogacy things, I'm so excited for you as a friend. I just know you're going to be the most incredible dads. But let's talk about coming out and being gay. Mm-hmm. What was that like for you, living in different parts of the country? Francis, let's start with you, being from Wales.
Oh, only gay in the village I was. It's actually really funny you asked that question, because this process of becoming parents, both Stuart and I have actually start to explore more of our kind of gayness and our gay past, and just kind of look back on how that's affected us as human beings and the people we are today. And Stuart maybe can talk about the book he's reading. But so I come from a very open-minded family. My mum says now that she knew when I was 3 that I was gay. So it was she kind of expected it, but they never kind of, led me to think that. They just were like, we're going to let him go on his own path. And you know what? Being a young gay boy, not to get out of the violence, is actually really hard, especially in the 90s when I feel like there was little representation, no teaching about being gay. I feel like today, both me and Stuart love RuPaul's Drag Race. How amazing that it's celebrated now to be different, but I don't feel like it was celebrated as much.
No, definitely not.
as much back then. So I didn't know I was gay, and then I was bullied for being gay. So when you're bullied for being something that you don't know that you are, that is really quite tough. But it wasn't until I went to drama school in London, which is the same drama school you went with, Stuart, that's where it was like everyone was pretty much gay. So for the first time, it was like, oh my gosh, this is normal. And that's when I kind of came out, I suppose. And that's when I told my parents, like, within months. And me and Stuart met quite young as well. So I haven't had many relationships. So it's we kind of forget that we're gay, if that makes sense. We forget because we hang around with...
It's the way that it's who you are.
Yeah.
And you love each other. So it's like, it's a weird thing to, I think, and I hope I didn't put you on the spot asking you that question at all, but you just saying that has made me think about it from a different, because I don't think of you as, I don't think of you as gay. I think of you as my best friends. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's what it is with us. So many of our friends are girls. So we talk about a boyfriend. I mean, you guys talk about your boyfriend. So it's through this process of becoming parents where we're like, oh, actually, we're gay. This isn't normal. But it's made us look back and just, all these things that maybe happened in our childhood, just understand ourselves more. But I just feel like I'm the luckiest person alive to be gay. I think anyone who has a gay son should just be like, oh my gosh, I got lucky, because I just find it such a blessing.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to be gay. I would hate to be a straight man. So I feel like for me personally, I'm really learning so much about myself. And over this lockdown, I've learned loads. And I'm actually reading a book called Straight Jacket right now. And it's amazing to kind of understand and unpick, like Francis was saying, like, we didn't recognize ourselves as that. And I kind of pushed myself away from, like, any kind of recognition of being gay, because I felt like people conceive people that are gay as people that are promiscuous and just different to what actually me and Francis are as people. And so I kind of like pushed that side of me away. And then through this, as Francis said, through this surrogacy process, it's opened my eyes up to going, oh my God, there's a reason why I've pushed that away, is because I felt uncomfortable with certain parts of me that I need to explore so much more. So this process, although it's actually about children, has actually opened me up to be like, oh my God, I've got so much more to learn about myself. Because from the way I want to bring up my children is full acceptance. I don't want to bring up my children with labels, but I want to bring up my children with full acceptance for who they are and being able to elaborate on their incredible personalities. And you can't do that unless you're doing that for yourself. Mm-hmm. So it's been a real, like, obviously process with surrogacy is like so confusing and so many intricate little details, but it's opened my mind up to thinking more about the kind of person that I want to be as a parent for my children.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, amazing. I'm so excited for you both, honestly. So from my perspective, like looking in for what's happening, I'm sort of reliving the moments at the moment of, like, where you're currently at now, which is how
6 weeks.
6 weeks in pregnancy. So we'll go back in a second. So I'm going through that process myself. I feel like it's all happening, like I'm seeing it through my eyes of pregnancy as well. And I just think it's amazing, the journey of how you found your surrogate, and if you're happy to sort of delve into all of that. And guys, you've got to follow Stuart and Francis's YouTube channel, and obviously them on Instagram, because you will literally get taken on the most amazing journey which they go through in all of that. So we don't want to give too much away, because you need to go follow the YouTube. But do you want to elaborate on the kind of decisions that you made? What made you choose a surrogate in the UK? And
so this is our thought process. So our wedding got cancelled last year, which was a real shame. But we thought to ourselves that there's not going to be another wedding for a good few years now, because it's like so far away. And I've always got quite an idealistic view of my life. And I was like, we're going to get married, and then we're going to start the process of having a child. So traditional, like the year after. So this year is always going to be the year we're going to start the process. Maybe not have it this year, but just start the process of it. And so it kind of really kick-started me thinking, okay, what am I waiting for? Let's absolutely go for it. So we actually started looking into different countries that you can do surrogacy, because in certain countries in Europe, for instance, you actually as a gay couple can't do surrogacy that you could do if you were a straight couple. So there were cheaper options, say maybe in Mexico or other places, but we had meetings with all people from all the different countries that they allow gay people to have surrogacy. And the one thing that me and Francis, our highest value is about strong, powerful women making the right decisions for themselves and not doing it just because they're desperate for money. And we want it to be a really philanthropic kind of experience rather than someone just crying out for help, basically. And so you can do it here in the UK, and it is legal to do it here in the UK. You can't pay someone to do it. There's no commercial surrogacy here. And you can't really you're not allowed legally to go to a friend and say, would you have my baby? And it would be awkward as hell to do that. So we decided through talking to each other that we're going to actually do it in America, because we felt like the women was doing it of their free will. They wanted to do it. They wanted to give back, and they wanted to, and they were getting paid very well for that.
Which I also, just touching on that word commercial surrogacy, it's kind of used within Europe as a bad thing, but actually commercial surrogacy isn't a bad thing, because in the US it's so protected by law, both the surrogate and the parents. And I personally believe, obviously, we'll come on to talk about our friend who's offered to do it for us in the UK, but I also believe, like, for someone to be a surrogate in the US, they have to be really vetted emotionally, financially. They need to show that they're not doing it just for a financial reason, but they should be compensated. It's like 9 months of their life,
and labour.
I said to Stuart last night when I was thinking about, I think I just saw a pregnant person ready to pop on Instagram. I was like, sugar, what are we doing to her? This is amazing what she's doing for us. It's just crazy.
So yeah, we went down the American route, and then what happened was one of our friends actually said, I would love to be your surrogate. So we were like, oh my gosh, we really thought about it, because we didn't ever want there to be any kind of, the main thing for us is that we love this girl called Sam, who's our surrogate. We absolutely love her, but we didn't want to put any kind of friction on her relationship with her kids or anything, because again, that was really important that we didn't just like barge in. We were super like tiptoeing in to make sure everything was good. And Craig was really on board, which is her husband, and the kids suggested it even before Sam told them. So it was amazing. And as a family, to decide to do that for somebody is just the most unbelievable, selfless thing I think you could ever do.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's absolutely, and she is just gorgeous, isn't she?
She's beautiful.
And so she'll be going through that. The 6 weeks is a bit of a time when you're like suddenly starting to feel a little bit. How does that feel? As like knowing that she's not feeling 100%. Is it weird feeling, or is it? Are you detached from it?
It's weird because I actually posted something on my Instagram the other day. I was like, I feel responsible for her. Like, she's feeling sick like right now and all the kind of usual signs. But also, she's got such an amazing mindset. She was like, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
It means strong baby. Mm-hmm. Like when you feel, the baby's like in there and all good things are happening. Definitely. Actually, me and my friend this morning were talking about that if the sickness is there, it's a really positive thing. So it all seems like from both of your kind of stories and things like that, and knowing both of your backgrounds, like being a performer, like that as in itself has got, there's challenges, there's setbacks. You've kind of, and you're both within, really, really successful in that career as well. And then both really successful in business. And it feels like there's this kind of like, we sort of mentioned it before, like define the kind of odds kind of stuff that's happening. Like, and what I think so amazing about you both is that you doing this, I know there's not many gay men that have gone on this process, especially in the UK. And for me, when you just said that, then it actually blows my mind that it's not accepted in all countries. Like
even in Europe, so in France, Germany and Spain, the biggest, these big Western countries, surrogacy is not allowed. That's crazy. It's actually illegal, and I didn't know that until the other day when I kind of looked into it a bit more. And that's why a lot of these couples end up going to America, the US as well. But it blows my mind. So I feel like we're kind of, what Stuart said this the other day, like what is our philosophy? Because when we were kind of doing our YouTube, we were like, yes, we're having a baby through surrogacy, but like what's this channel about? What's our kind of true philosophy we want to show to the world? Is that we've always been breaking boundaries in everything we've done. The fact that we're gay, we broke boundaries in the performing industry and business, and now what we're doing, I just feel like we're at the front of this new kind of just changing perceptions about family, what family is, you know. So yeah, I really excited.
And do you know what? It's really nice to have open conversations about what people's perception of family is.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's really opened up our eyes to, do you have to have a mother to be to create a good family, or is it actually the qualities of a mother that actually determine? And I feel like as a gay man, you're able to access both your feminine and your masculine energies, which I think's really also helped me in business. Also, I didn't know at the time in my musical theatre career about the masculine and feminine energy, but I definitely used that to propel my career. But in business especially, being able to be malleable and work, because in the business kind of sense, you have to have the masculine energy to be a driver. But at the same time, if you're just a driver and you have no feminine energy to be nurturing and caring and loving and helping people to the top, etc., then you lose your credibility. So you have to be able to go flick between those two energy types. And I feel like that's, again, in our family, something that we will be able to access because of that awareness of self.
I'm also noticing that, like, globally with brands and the way the businesses are going, we are moving to a more feminine style of business as well. Like, if you look at in a big brands, the way they contact you, they want you to feel, it's more personal. I feel like that's the kind of maybe the more feminine side.
Yeah, and also the kind of moving on to that, the like sustainability. Yeah. Brands are really, having to kind of make sure that we're making, a good footprint on the planet as well. Oh, it's just so interesting. I just love talking to you. Luckily, you're my best friends. So for the listeners, the podcast is obviously Believe You Can, and with all of the things that you've been talking about, it's like overcoming things and like being successful off the back of that. What would you say? Like, could you both give us some tips of things that you feel that have really helped you in moments of doubt, or when you didn't think that you could do something and then you pushed through that? Is there any things that you've used to really implement maybe daily or on your journeys in life in general? Because that's the one thing I think sometimes what doing this podcast is helping me discover is that it's being successful in all areas, isn't it? In work, in your passions, with your family, and that balance of that. And that's what I feel like you're gonna give so much to your child or children in life as well. So going back to that, so what would you feel you have used daily to kind of really implement things to give you a successful life?
I'm going to get Stuart to go first, just because just the way our relationship has gone, he's just always spearheaded a lot of the movement in our kind of relationship and things like that. So I've always I found my own path, but I feel like you should go first.
I'm so pleased you asked this question, because I was actually thinking about this in the car. So right now, I'm obviously really focused on building my Instagram following, right? And so I would love in maybe a year or by the end of this year to have 100,000 followers, say. And what I've noticed that I've been doing is focusing on the lack of growth that I've been having rather than on the growth. And I think that is the biggest thing that stumbles everybody in their careers, in everything in life, is when they where the focus is at, and being super aware of where you're putting your focus, because that focus is what's going to grow. And so for me, and for I say 90% of the population, you're focused on the things that aren't going right, and as those things that aren't going right keep growing and growing and growing, you keep focusing on those things that aren't going right. So one of the things I've been super vigilant on, and really made sure that I am constantly powering through on, is the end game. The little steps to get to the end game, there's always going to be different to what you imagine. But if you're constantly focused on that bigger vision of where you're going, who you are, you stand strong in your values, then it comes so much quicker than if you just focus on the day-to-day little things. And I think in this lockdown that we've all experienced, it's become more present that everybody is focusing on fear and lack lack and scarcity, and it is really challenging to stand out from the crowd and do something different, because whenever I do that with people that don't necessarily understand the same kind of concepts that I understand, they think that I'm just not taking life seriously.
They think you're not realistic.
And it's not that, it's that I'm choosing like I'm focus.
Yeah, in the right place.
So anyone that's starting a business, anyone that wants to be successful in any part of their life, because you could have all the success in one part of your life, but if you're not focused on having success in this or whatever part, it's really important that the end goal is the main focus. And with all of the people that I kind of work with, the ones that have the biggest success only talk about the things they want. And that's something that I choose to do. It doesn't come naturally, because as human beings,
I feel like it does come naturally for you though, because
maybe.
I feel like Stuart is a master at really being kind of almost childlike in his philosophy. But a childlike philosophy, we just evaluate what that is. They don't focus on fear or lack. They're focused on discovery. They're focusing on the exciting things. And I think that's what we all need to go back to. Is just like dreaming again and thinking about what we want, which is kind of what Stuart was talking about. So I feel like there's this juggling act between, because some people say you need to be present, you need to be present in the moment, but you need to be focused on this future. It's this like weird kind of thing. But I suppose you could be present, but actually you think you're being present, but all you're doing is either worrying forward or thinking about the past.
Yeah.
I just think I've been on a massive journey of self-discovery this year. This year has forced me to look deep into myself than ever before. And I don't mean to sound like really deep about that, but and when Stuart was talking about our wedding, I'm like, I'm much preferring this journey to having kids than actually being married. And I know that we'll get married in a few years' time and we'll have kids there and it'll be the most amazing thing. But I'm so grateful for the things that have happened. And I think often that's the case with most people, is they look at their current situation, and even if it feels bad, they're not able to recognize that it could be serving them in some bigger way, or there's a reason, and there's a reason you're not getting that house, or you didn't get that job, or whatever. So I think it's like, this balancing act between vision and being present. And the last thing I'll just say is just the thing that I find is I take life very seriously, and I think the more fun you have, the more light you are, the more things you attract into your life just because you're having fun.
Absolutely. I love that. And all of the times, like if you think if everyone that's listening, you guys can think about moments in our life where you felt like devastated, like a relationship breakup or a job you didn't get or something. And then in those moments, you can't see like, oh my gosh, like I wish I'd have got that job, or I wish that hadn't have happened. And then a year later, like, oh my gosh, thank God that happened. Like, thank goodness, because if that didn't happen, then this wouldn't have led me on to this. I remember actually for me, one of the moments was I desperately wanted to get Sophie at Mamma Mia. And I was at the final, got put on hold for it. And then a new director came in and they chose somebody else. I was devastated. But then I got the opportunity to work on both the Mamma Mia films because of that. And I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I hadn't. So it's like, what is coming your way often, it might not be what you want, but it can redirect you on the path that you're meant to be on.
And I think the sentence that everyone needs to repeat to themselves at all times is everything always works out for me.
Yeah.
So if you constantly know that, then you know that it's like, oh, that wasn't right for me. There's going to be something better. And going back to just quickly, it's back to what Francis said about having the balancing act between the future and the present. If you are so excited about what's about to happen in your future, you are in the present because you are like living and breathing the excitement.
And living and breathing your passion.
Yeah, because what you said is that you worry about the future. If you worry about the future, then that's not obviously being present.
No.
But if you're excited about the future and what's coming, then you're so in line and in the vortex of life that actually you are being present, because you're knowing that you're following the steps to create that dream life.
Can I just say, like, as a practical tip for people, there's something called an alignment list, and it's by someone called Esther Hicks or Abraham Hicks. You can find loads of their stuff on YouTube. And it's basically the things that you love to do. So for instance, I love working out. I love eating good food. I love traveling when we can. All the things I love to do. Obviously, think of the things you can do right now. If you're a creator, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're working from that place where you've done those things in your day, it's going to feel so much easier. If you're kind of trying to work so hard and focus on the lack and things that are happening, you're not going to get the results. that you want. So if you do the things on your alignment list, maybe it's dancing, maybe it's singing, you were just singing, earlier, like do those things, because I feel like things will feel so much easier.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think all three of us probably practice daily, which I've spoken about on like previous podcasts as well, but it's just interesting that, speaking about it, and a lot of people that are coming on the podcast are saying that they practice gratitude and affirmations, and how important those kind of things are daily. I think it's when Stuart is the first person that you introduced me to affirmations. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to say these positive statements out loud, like what is going on? But when I read the science of it, of the reticular activating system, that there's a part in the brain that focuses on what you tell it to focus on most, it makes complete sense. And I know we were chatting about the RAS as the abbreviation. Bit of Jack Canfield. We love a bit of Jack Canfield's books.
Basically, your brain just filters out. So when you visualize, your brain starts to kind of look for those things that you're visualizing. So I find that so comforting, knowing that the things that you want actually exist right now. Because I think so often we think they don't exist, I need to bring them into existence. No, they exist right now. You just need to be open enough to notice them.
And also 10 years ago, when me and Francis actually started on a personal development journey to kind of better ourselves, what we both noticed was that the language in these books was so different to the language that we were speaking.
Yes.
And we're like, this is like so exciting. I feel like it's like new text that we've never read before. And if we implement this kind of way of speaking and thinking, imagine, what our lives could look like. And that's why affirmations really worked for me, because I lacked confidence. I was insecure. I felt like I was always been a happy, outgoing, bubbly person, but I always was like had layers of self-doubt and criticism that I used to put on myself. And so by doing those affirmations, you don't start to believe it at the beginning, but it then starts to become a standpoint where you go, actually, I do deserve to have success. I am a person that is confident. I am someone, because it's only what you tell yourself is what you are. And so by saying I wasn't very confident, I had these layers, that's the person that I was showing up as. And so by doing the affirmations, I started to show up as a different person. Results started becoming different. I started to feel better. I started to own my power, and I really feel like feels weird when you start it, but like obviously 10 years on for me, the affirmations that I would only dreamed of are actually in my life right now. So they are so powerful. Yeah, you just got to go.
Step one is awareness, though. I think that's what personal development does. It makes you aware. And I'm like, we are both so aware of the words that we use, and I know you two are Claire.
You are too.
You are too, Claire.
Those words are really important.
And like simple things like I can't, like listing your limiting beliefs. Like it's almost a British thing to be proud of. Like, oh, I'm not very good at that. Like it's no, your words matter. Of course, your thoughts matter, but the things you say matter. And I think when I meet new people, I'm always so aware about what they're saying and how they feel about themselves, but what they say. And I just think we should celebrate, like Stuart said, like, I deserve success. Like we all deserve success, and we all deserve abundance. Just the people that get it believe that they can. Hashtag your name.
Yeah. I mean, but it is so true. It is so true. I mean, there's so many different points for me where, I've gone into an audition or in for something, and I just, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it. I'm going to get the words wrong. And, you're feeding your mind with all those critical things or in anything. But when I've believed that I can do something, it's like you're halfway there. You've obviously got to put the work in, the effort, the love, the passion for whatever it is that you're doing. But it just gives you a different inner, and people can see it as well. Like that's the thing. And it's sexy, isn't it?
It is so
when
sexy.
someone believes in themselves, like not in an arrogant way, but just in a way of just like, you're just like, yes, you're totally like, I remember you used to say when I'm in my body, like rather, because I can be a bit like out there and like all over the shop.
Especially women, I think. Because I love women. I love seeing women that are just so in their own power, embracing both their masculine and feminine side, like we chatted about before. It is the most sexy thing. And not in any sexual way, but just sexy as in sexy.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there anything else that you feel that you could share maybe, or you want to talk about any challenges that you feel you've overcome in the last couple of years that you feel might help some people?
Yes, my biggest challenge has been, what I've realised about myself is that I have been running away from the way I've been feeling for years. And it probably comes from being a gay man, young gay boy, not understanding the feelings I have, and then just learning to run away, don't speak, you know. And through this last year, I've really been much more open with the way I feel. And I think not dealing with things, everyone can relate to that, feels like the easier option, but it's always the most painful, because it will always be more painful when you don't own your truth.
It shows up at potentially a later date. So that's quite interesting, because I think where we're in this world, like we're really passionate about personal development and stuff like that. I think we've all probably learned maybe in the last couple of years that you want to be positive and you want to do all those things, but you have to deal with emotions, grief, you know, all the sorts of different emotions that come up, and not like hide them away, but at the same time, you know, have a positive outlook on the things that you want to attract into your life.
Sometimes positive mental attitude or positivity can actually be the worst philosophy out there, because you put the positivity on every single area of your life, whereas life is a moment-to-moment thing. Sometimes you need to be sad, sometimes you need to be angry, sometimes you need to sit in those emotions and understand them. And if you're like, no, I need to be positive, you're actually just ignoring that. So that's what I've really learned this year, is not to run away from things. So yeah, so that's what I'd say. What would you say, Stuart?
Oh, God, I feel like this lockdown and everything, you know, in the past, kind of say, couple of years has. I've learned so much about myself, and I feel like it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but I think that one of the things I learned from my dad passing away was that it's okay to sit, like Francis was saying, okay to sit in different emotions, because one of the things that I've been so good at and has got me so successful is just like going, right, okay, put a good spin on it, put a good spin on it, and it'll be absolutely fine. But actually, sometimes it's okay to sit there and go, this is how I'm feeling right now, and how can I get myself like one layer up on the scale of happiness, rather than trying to get yourself all the way up, because I feel like that is absolutely exhausting. And I think just listening to your body, listening to our minds are so powerful, and they constantly give us feedback, and you know, our hearts too. But I find it easier to listen to my mind than I do my heart. And I feel like if you listen to that inner voice, it's always guiding you to abundance. It's always guiding you to the best, the next best thing. But lots of people don't allow themselves enough time in the day to sit quietly, to actually listen to that voice, to let them know what's going on. So they constantly put like layers and layers. And that's something I definitely did.
You did this morning, you said you picked up your phone first thing this morning and you noticed a difference in your day.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. Like, if I do that, if I put other people before myself in the morning, I am tired. I feel out of control. Less fulfilled, more anxious. I can feel my jaw getting tight. Like, I know that sounds so extreme, but actually, I value myself enough to give myself time in the morning to focus on me, rather than focus on everything else and what everybody else wants of me. And so
I can't wait for that challenge when we have a baby, because it's literally like, honey, I'm doing my miracle morning, you stay there.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I'm so ready for that.
It is different. It definitely, you know, it's definitely a shock. No one can kind of prepare you for, like, you know, you think you've had the conversations with your parents and your friends that've got kids, and you, like, I remember saying to a few people, why didn't you tell, like, especially about labour, why didn't you tell me it was going to be like that? Why didn't you tell me I would be this sleep deprived? And it's like, no, we did, but you just don't know. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, do you? And that's not to say it brings you the joyous, wonderful things, but there's nothing like a little sproglet getting in your bed in the morning, giving you a cuddle.
I can't wait for that.
I can't wait for that. But I also feel like what we've established between myself and Francis is such an amazing way of living. Like, our business doesn't rule us. We are in control of that. So we actually do have the flexibility to be together.
In the shower this morning, actually, I really thought about that. I was like, it's me first.
Yeah.
Then it's my work.
Yeah.
And I think what I've done for the last years is I'm defined by my work. As an actor, I'm defined what show I'm in. It's like, no, I'm happy with me. It's me first. I think that's a really good thing to think about.
Yeah, love it. Amazing. So a lot of the things that we've kind of focused on and spoken about are just such quality stuff. And I think if you can start your day in the right way, that is something that it will make the biggest difference to your life. Obviously, we're all passionate about exercise and, you know.
Can I just say one thing? If you don't start your day in the right way, it's also fine because it's all about segment intention. So when you go onto the new segment of your day, so you get in the car when you can go to the gym and you go to the gym, that's a new segment of your day.
Yeah.
So start the intention from that moment and then move forward on your day from that moment.
Yeah. I think most people, they feel like they failed the first 2 hours and the day is all gone, but it's, you know, life isn't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, if you stub your toe, it's all right. 20 minutes later, you'll be fine. Rather, it's like, oh, it's going to be such a bad day. It's all right. You can segment it off. Oh, my gosh. It's been an absolute pleasure just chatting to you in this way. Thank you so much for coming on. Make sure you follow Stuart Armfield. Stewie is
Steueyarmfield.
Stewie Armfield on Instagram, and Francis Haugen. And what's your YouTube channel called?
Stuart and Francis.
Absolutely love it. And yeah, just appreciate you all. Make sure if you've loved this episode, please go onto iTunes or Spotify where you're listening to it. Leave a review, 5 stars, you know, if you fancy. And just would love to hear what you liked best about it. I know you would have got so much value from today's episode, and I'm so grateful to both of you for taking the time to be on with me. And we can't wait to watch all of your journey, your surrogacy journey with you and Sam and the new baby. So excited. Thank you so much.
Thank you, darling.
Love you.
Goodbye.
Bye.